Hello, welcome to Rita's Paper Motif. I'm Rita, and today I wanted to share two of the cards that we created for the online card class, and that was in the month of May 2023. So before we get started, though, I just wanted to get some housekeeping things out of the way. First of all, I do want to apologize for the gloves. I've been doing some yard work, and this happens every time I do yard work at the beginning of the summer. My eczema flares up on my hand, so even though I was using garden gloves, it still happened. And so I have medication to heal or to help heal the eczema, and so I don't want to get that all over the card, so therefore I'm wearing gloves. So if you can overlook that, that would be a great thing. Also, I wanted to share with you that you can find a lot of the things that we share in the videos at ritaspapermotif.com. For any of the items that we use today, you certainly could find them in my online store. And also, I just wanted to invite you to subscribe to my weekly newsletter. Now, let's get going. So the first card that we're going to make today is this card. Is the Pansy patch card, and this the stamp set as well as the dies can be found in our annual catalog. Now, we're not going to use the stamp set today. We're only using the dies, and those of you that placed your orders for $35 or more got the kits or are getting the kits to make this card. So you can make two of each card that I show you today, and all the ingredients are in there. The only thing that isn't in there is any stamped images, and I can't send those to you, but you are more than welcome to build up your inventory so that you have a variety of stamps, and you can also find those at the online store. But I made this particular card to be a birthday card, and so it has a sentiment on the inside and a sentiment right here. So let me show you what you need to make that card. These will be the ingredients that you need to make this card. Let me put it to the side, and I'll bring all this stuff out. So you're going to need an envelope, of course, we know that. And then you need a card base. Now, this card base was originally, when we started, was an 11, it looks like my camera is a little too close. Let's get out here so we can really see here. So originally, this was 11 by 8.5, so the 11 side here and the 8.5 here. I simply put it in my trimmer. Now, I know some of you are new, maybe new to crafting, but we have a lovely trimmer. I use this all the time. I do have a like a guillotine that I use for big projects, but this is so much easier because it has measurements at the bottom and at the top, and it has this nice clear guide that these blades move up and down. So this is the cutting blade, and this is the scoring blade. So dark is cutting, scoring is light. It has a beautiful arm that extends for those of you that scrapbook. So I do scrapbook, so this is one of the reasons that I really love this trimmer. All right, so I just wanted to show you that. I've already cut everything because I don't want this to be an extra long video. But this did start out to be 11 by 8.5 inches. And then I just rotated it and scored it down the middle at 4 1/4. That will give you the A2 size card. Now, and that fits in any medium envelope. And then I just took my bone folder, and you can get your bone folder. They're a great item to have to secure those folds. That's also at the online store. Now let me show you the rest of the ingredients. All of these you're getting, and it's a little hard for me with gloves on, but let's go ahead and try. All right, so one of the things that you need is the base layer. And I showed you the wrong card a while ago. You need that base layer and this happens to be Night of Navy. And so it just, goes on the bottom. It fits on your card base, and we'll do that. Fits on your card base just like that. So it gives it a margin all the way around. So one of those for each card. So you got a kit to make 2, so you're going to have 2 of these. You're also going to get a piece of basic white cardstock, and this measures 3 3/4 by 5. This is going to be adhered right down to that blue piece. Now we're going to talk about our the inside part that fits on here, and this is a scalloped piece of basic white, and we're going to decorate it a little bit, but that is going to go right on top of here. And all these layers create texture, and they also create a sense of elevation. So you don't have to, if you were doing this on your own, you don't have to have this scalloped piece. But I'll tell you what, I love my scalloped dies. There's so much that I just put them in the pack. But they're just great because you can run them through your die cutting machine, your cut and emboss machine, and you'll come out with something that has the scalloped edges. And I hope you can see it, but it also has like a little stitching mark along the corners. So that, and we're going to use that to our advantage today when we make our card. So if you don't have those scalloped dies, I can tell you that you would probably enjoy them when you're making your cards. All right, so let's go on. So the next thing for these flowers that we're going to be making is you need 2 of the yellow petals. I kind of got those all over the place, don't I? So 2 of those, and those are cut out with this die, and this comes from the Pansy dies, and so obviously I have mine out, but they're great because you can use them, and they do fit through your mini cut and emboss machine. Now if you're just starting out and you don't have an embossing cutting machine, then I suggest you get the regular size, because you can use anything in the regular size, but in the mini emboss and cut machine, it's smaller, so what you fit through, it can't be too wide. But all of these will fit in that mini cut and emboss machine. So here are the 2 petals, and that's for this flower that we're going to be building. And then you need one of, I call this the base of the flower, and that is cut out with this die. And then also you're going to need, whoops, these gloves for you. You're also going to need this little like enhancement. It's a little outline, and you're going to need 1 of those. So I'll just put it separate here. And then also we're going to need 2 of these edges that fit right. See, I can't tell if I'm holding it in my gloves. Okay, and that fits right here on the edge, right like that. Okay. All right, so you need 2 of those. And then also, of course, you're going to need 2 leaves, and so we have those here. And those are cut out with the leaf die. Now, this also has another die that you can do, so you could have like the veins that would show through, so a more detailed a leaf. If you wanted, you could do that. So you could do like 1 out of lighter and 1 out of darker. Because my leaves are just going to be kind of bringing the flowers together, I really didn't do that. So that's the die that I used for that. This is the die that I used for these. And then this is the die that I used for that outline. All right, so that's for one of the flowers. Now we're making 2 flowers. So this flower that is yellow is going to use all of those same dies. I'm going to move them off so we have more room. Want to be careful because that's how you lose dies, when you don't put them where they go right away. Oh, and I did forget one little thing. You're also going to need 1 of these for that flower. And that is also cut out with the die. And it's, see this tiny little die here? All right. All right, and so then we're going to be building the next flower, which is a yellow base. It's going to use 2 of the petals, and these petals are actually Starry Sky. It's one of the in colors, and then of course we're going to have a yellow. And I don't know why I have to be so careful in this yellow, but we're going to have a yellow like little trim here. And then we'll have the blue parts that go right up here on the leaves. And up here, we have 2 more leaves that go with this flower. And then, of course, we have that little, do they call this the piston? Whatever this middle part of the flower is. And so we're going to have that. So let's go ahead and make that card. Now remember, when you get all of these things for your card, you are going to get 2 of each, okay? So let's get started. So let's go ahead and first, let's begin on this little scalloped part here. Now you can see that I have some little stitching marks here, and you can do that 2 ways. You could actually do a little, you know, you could pierce this with your, take a pick tool, and you could stitch it. Now I really have become fond of the stitching, but I didn't do that because we really do kind of want to watch our time. So what I did is I took my, this is actually Orchid Oasis. This is our Stamp and Blend. It's an alcohol marker. It's dual tipped. Woo. So I'm going to use the thinner tip, and basically what I'm going to do, and I have to get down close to this, so excuse me, I'm just going to kind of make a mark where those little stitch marks are on the card, and see I wasn't close enough, so one of them is off. But you can decide how close you want to make them, and I'm just going to do this quickly, and I have to do it closer so I can see. And so sometimes I'm really exact, and unfortunately sometimes I'm not. But some of this will be covered up by the flower. So if you really have a faux pas, hopefully you made it where it can be covered up. Now on your what I gave you in your card kit is not already marked. All right, so if you don't mark your card, then it will come out like, oh, I don't have one that's not marked. Okay, so anyway, here we go. We're done with this, and now we're going to go ahead and finish our card. Finish our card. So let's go ahead and adhere this base layer to our card base. Now I'll tell you right off, my adhesive of choice is the Stamp and Seal. However, there are some times that's not really the wisest option, and that is because, and you'll see, that is because once you put your adhesive on there, you don't have a lot of room to wiggle whatever this is gonna be hard with the gloves. You don't have a lot of time to wiggle your paper to make sure you get that margin exact. With the glue, you have a little bit of wiggle time. So what I like to do is it's hard for me to measure white on white, so I'm using my silicone mat, which is great because glue and adhesive doesn't stick to this, so it keeps your work surface sticky free. But I'm just going to go ahead and try to line this up as best I can. Of course, I'm eyeballing it. And you know what? That's okay. I did okay. And then and this is again Night of Navy. And then we're going to take our 3 3/4 piece of basic white, and we're going to put that on top. So let's go do that. While I'm doing this, I did want to just tell you that you can find all of our paper in an online store. So if you're just starting out, I would just pick a color family, whether it's your Regals or Brights or online colors, whatever it is, and kind of start from there. And then you can move on. All right, so now we have this base pretty much done. Now with this apart, you have the option of either using your dimensionals, or you can just glue it on here. Here's the decision I made. I just put it on here, did not use dimensionals because I am going to use them on the flowers. And it, depending on how thick your envelope is with your card, that is going to tell you how much postage you need. So I donate a lot of my cards, and also I mail cards out all the time. So I want to keep my postage as reasonable as possible. And so I did not use the dimensionals on this little scalloped part here. Now I am checking it out to see if there's any parts that maybe I kind of want to hide. I think I'm okay here. All right, so again, I'm going to use this is called Stamp and Seal. All of our glues are very, very strong. And so whatever your preference is, I would go with it. All right, so now we've got the base of our card done. When you're going to stamp it, now would be a good time to stamp it on here. Actually, I knew I wasn't going to stamp it, so I kind of left that step out, but let me cover it now. Let me retrack here. I usually like to stamp my sentiment if it's going to go specifically on the card and not on a sentiment strip. I like to stamp it before I decorate it and before I adhere it, because if your sentiment is not straight or you're not happy with it, you can always flip this over and try again and then go ahead and decorate it. But I knew I wasn't going to be stamping it because I'm doing this for the card club. All right, but you see on this one I did. All right, so now we're going to build our flowers. So let's start with that. I am going to use my reverse tweezers. And so I have found that reverse tweezers are a godsend. Now you can definitely find these in our online store. They do look a little different. They're black. I've had this for a really long time. But the reverse tweezers are in the online catalog, so you can definitely take advantage of that. So let's just build our flowers. So let's start, and it's with this orchid oasis, and we're going to, this time we're going to be using a liquid glue, and I have some here that are one of the things with this glue, it's great glue. The reason that I use it a lot, but it's not my preferred adhesive, and that is because you don't need very much of this. Obviously, too much glue is going to be an issue, and I have a heavy hand, so sometimes I get frustrated because I just use too much and then it oozes out. It's, you know, you have to kind of fix it up, right? All right, so we're going to go ahead and start building here. So let's take, this is going to be our blue pansy, of course. Let's start out with these little petals, and you would be able to feel, and I can feel it even through the gloves, there's a texture in that die. When it cuts them out with a little texture. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue. See, it's more than a little, and that's why I'm saying and I'm going to glue this right like this. All right, and then I want to glue that to this, and I'm going to just glue it like that. Okay, now I'm going to take those little pieces that we had, these, and that's where I'm going to use my reverse tweezers. And you can kind of feel which side to use facing up, because you can kind of feel the back and the front. So we're going to go ahead and use our reverse tweezers here, and we'll just put a little bit of glue. See, too much. I do have, and I have, and I'm going to take this off before I put it on there. I have put some glue into a precision based bottle, and that's probably what I should be using. But I did leave the lid off, and so that will, I had to clear it before I can use it. And so I just take out my reverse tweezers. They kind of help me get this in place. And this is the beauty of that liquid glue, is that you have time to move it so that you can manipulate whatever it is you're gluing down. Because these little parts, because they're so, they're not very thick, so they don't have a lot of stability. So there's one side. Now let's get the other. And this time I'm going to try to be a little more careful. Sometimes if you can just get a dot, then you can kind of spread it. Now, a lot of my fellow crafters are like so pro at that, at using that liquid glue. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and get this where we want it as well. I'm trying to make sure that the yellow doesn't show through. Okay. All right, let's see here. It's also kind of hard to do when because my head is so far up from this. All right, so now you can see where we're going with this. Let's go ahead and take this part now, and we're going to do the very same thing here. And if you like this video, please consider subscribing. And then if you hit that bell icon, sometimes it helps to lay it down. And I just got it in that glue. That wasn't too smart. If you hit that bell icon, then you'll be notified of anytime I upload new content. All right, so we're going to go ahead and put this right on here. And if glue does ooze out, it's better to try and take care of it right away, because when it dries really tacky like. And I'm going to clean that off because I don't want that happening again. And I will tell you this, usually it's best to let that dry, and then you can just peel it off, but I don't have time to let it dry, so I'm just going to take a baby wipe and wipe it up. All right, now let's work on our, oh, we got to put that little piston thing in there. So here's that. It's very tiny. You will need, well, maybe you won't. All right, so let's go ahead. I'm bringing this closer so I can, see the glue. And this I do have to bring closer. I am sorry. But you want to line this up. You want to line the bottom of that part up with the dip there in the pansy. All right, so that flower is done. Let's work on our yellow flower now. So here's our yellow flower, and it's going to have two of the blue petals. And you can feel for what side is on the texture, which is the textured side. And these you can really just glue at the bottom, and you can, fan them out as much as you want or not. And then we'll just take this and just put a little bit of glue. And go ahead and put it there. I should be gluing this on my silicone mat. Okay, and then we're going to take those blue tips again. With just a little glue. That's how much you should be putting on there. Okay. Okay, perfect. One more. And you know, if you are liking this content, or you have any, if you like the Pansy patch, the stamp set, or the die set, go ahead and let me know in the comments section below. And if you like the content, go ahead and hit the like button. Those are always appreciated. Okay, there we go. That part is finished. Hopefully there we go. All right, we're going to get that this part, because this is going to fit on the yellow there. I almost missed it. The other thing that you can do is you can also cut these parts out using the adhesive sheets, but I like to use my adhesive sheets for when I cut out letters and stuff. And I'm going to bring this closer so that I can get it where I need it. When you're doing your card, you'll be closer, obviously. All right, so my pansy is getting done there. Let's see, we'll get that little part that goes in the middle. And we'll just put it right here. All right, so that pansy is done. And now, you know, we have the leaves that we don't really have to put on the flower at all. So let's go ahead and put our card together. And let me get rid of all this stuff that's here in the way. Although we'll need that glue again. All right. So we're going to bring our card base out. And what I like to do is I like to place my flowers where I'm going to want them, or how I want them. So it depends on what color you want first. It really doesn't matter at this point. I don't know why I wanted that like that, but that is how I did it. And that gives you plenty of room for that stamp too. So let's go ahead and put these on. Now here's what I wanted to share with you though, is that this flower, this pansy, I will use the glue to glue it down. Before I glue that down though, because it'll be glued down, I did want to go ahead and position my leaves. So you see on this card that we have 2 leaves here at the bottom. So let's just go ahead and glue those leaves. And you don't need a lot of glue, remember that. I have to say it just to remind myself. Actually, I'm sure you heard me the first time, but... All right, so we're going to glue that right there. And then we'll glue the other flower next to it. And so that's going to stick out a little bit, but as long as it's not sticking out of the end of the card, you're okay. go with that. Okay, now we can glue down our flower. So this is, you could use the adhesive if you want, or the glue. I have this out, so I'm going to use it. I don't have to worry too much about my heavy hand because it's a bigger piece. But now this pansy, I want to give it a little bit of I want it to pop out. So I'm going to use my dimensionals, and I'm just going to put them on the back. Now, I love dimensionals. And these, I'm hoping you can see this. These can be found in the online store. And that's what happens when you wear gloves. And I also like to put one of these dimensionals right in the middle where those two petals were. And then, well, just a couple more. Now, if you're just starting out, or if you get the paper pumpkin, well, I don't know that those two things go together exactly with what I'm going to say, but if you're just starting out, dimensionals are probably something that you'll want to get. We have the regular size and the mini. Now, if you're using a lot of paper pumpkins, they will send you little glue dots in the package. I have always found that it is harder for me with those, so I choose just to use my own adhesive. And so you can choose your own adhesive, whichever it is, and that also you'll be happy you did, I think. And so I'm just taking off the release paper because it's hard to do with gloves, so I'm trying to use my take a pick tool. And I hope you're giving me some grace, because I really felt like I needed to do this video. So hopefully the gloves won't be needed within the week. All right, let's see here. Okay, so we're finished with our flower, and we can put it anywhere, wherever we want. I'm going to put it right here, and it's going to go kind of on top of this other pansy, which is why I'm using the dimensionals, and that's why I glued that down too. Now with this, you can do one or two things. You can use your glue dot, and I'm just bringing it out just to bring out all the options for you. You can use the glue dot. I wasn't going to use the glue dot because it's a little harder with the gloves, but if I didn't have gloves on, this would be what I'd use. And you'll have a little glue dot on the back, and then you can just slip it underneath this pansy, right like that, and it'll stay. So that wasn't so difficult, so let's go ahead and use it again. Okay. And the mini glue dots, again, you know where you can find them, right? All right, and so there is our card, basically. Now, there's a lot of variations that you can do with this. You could put ribbon on it if you wanted to, but I'm also going to put some, like gems. So let me get those out. These are our pastel pearls, and I just love them. So, you know, you can choose whatever color you want. The color I chose here, and not the pearls, that's not what I want. That's for the next card. So what I'm using on this card is I'm going to be using, and I'm sorry I have to fiddle here. Let's see here. I think when I was cleaning up, I put them away. Well, in your kit, you will get those dots so that you can put them on your card. I'm not going to keep digging for them, but you can see that they're on here. And I like to put them in odd numbers. So right here we have 5, and I like to put them around to draw your eye around the card. And then on the inside, you can stamp whatever sentiment you want as well. And again, I took my Stampin' Blends and just kind of drew some dashes around the sentiment to kind of repeat the stitched look on the front. So there's that card, and you also will, you know, like I said, will have that in your kit. I've also sent you an envelope for each card. Now, you can do a lot of cute things with the envelope too. I wouldn't suggest that you use the dies for that, but you can stamp it with the Pansy stamp set. You could stamp it so that you have something that ties in with this card. You could also just take your Stampin' Blend and put some little dashes here too. That works just fine. It's just that a decorated envelope really does make a card prettier. All right, so there's that card. Now let's move on to the next card that we're going to make that's in your kit. And this is the card that we have in your kit. And so it's a pansy as well. It's a kind of simple. And let's just go through what you have in your kit and how we put it together. So let me bring that over. And I hope I didn't drop anything. So you're going to get an envelope, of course. And then I didn't crease this card. This card is going to fold a little different. Now this card that we made was landscape. We're going to make this card into portrait, but we're going to make it the same way. We're going to cut it the same way. We're going to fold it and crease it the same way. So I like to feel the crease, and where it raises, when the crease that comes up, I like to fold that inside. And so you want to make sure that your edges are together. Now I will tell you that a lot of times I'll take my trimmer and I'll just fit the card right in the corner, because that it'll sit straight. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and crease that. And so we're going to make this like a book. So it's going to open like this. All right, so you need a card base, and you need an envelope, which you have. You're also going to need a piece of, this is a piece of shimmer cardstock. It is a Highland Heather piece of shimmer cardstock, and I don't know that you can see the shimmer in it, but it is shimmery. And then this is, again, that first layer is normally, in my cards, is normally 4 by 5 1/4. Then I took a piece of basic white, and this is 3 3/4 by 5, and you'll see here the texture, and that is beautiful texture. And I used an embossing folder, and that embossing folder is called Bloom. It's a hybrid. And so, you know, you just put your card that you're going to emboss right in here. You can see the line where you can line it up so you get a straight emboss, and you feed it through your embossing machine. Now this is 3D, so you'll have to look on your machine and see what the layers of those plates that you use. So that is going to fit right on top of this shimmer card. And then we have another piece of shimmer card. And this white piece is what you're going to stamp your sentiment on, and it's going to lay right here. And that's just to break up some of the white. But sometimes a lot of white, a simple white card is elegant. So I like to think about that. You know, it is. All right, so let's go ahead and make our flower. there is one thing I need to do, and that's why you always want to pay attention to your ingredients here, and that is we're going to need to cut a little bit of a strip. So you see this strip right here? I like to do it in the other colors I'm using. Now this card I used fresh freesia and Highland Heather and white. So I made something, this is cardstock. So you could use ribbon there too if you wanted to, but I don't want to. So I'm going to cut, this is going to be about 1/2 inch. And then I'm going to also, I don't want it too long, so, wow, I don't want it that long. So I'm going to cut it down. I'm going to cut my finger there. And then I'm going to put it in my trimmer with the corner at the, this is the guide, and I'm going to put it there. So what that's going to do is kind of just give me like a little edge, right? And then I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. And so I want this side to be short and this side to be long. So I'll just do the opposite. Okay, so this is going to be used as something that looks like a ribbon. All right, let's go ahead and get started with that. And here we go. Let's make our flower first. We'll put all these pieces over here. Get out our silicone mat. And so we're going to start with that white. Oh, actually, we'll start with the petals. Now these petals are Highland Heather, which is what I put in your kit. And so we're going to a little bit of glue. Okay. And a little bit of glue on this. Just right at the top. Okay, and I have dropped some of the parts here. Let's see. Oh, no, I didn't. So on this one, I didn't put any rims up here, any outlines up here. I just did the middle. And so we're just going to go ahead and put that in there. Okay, and then we're going to so it's okay if you have to move it around. That's the beauty of that glue. So there we go with that. And now I'm looking for that little piston part that goes on the card here. So let me kind of move these things around so I can show you what I'm doing here. And sometimes in all of this, they get just a little messed up here. So let's see. Here we go. So we have this. Definitely have to use our tweezers. And that goes right in here. And this middle part is Gorgeous Grape. Okay, so our flower is done. Here's our leaves. They're a little darker than the other. Now, something I wanted to show you about this card that we're creating is that, oh my goodness, is that this textured part, I would strongly suggest that you use liquid glue because of the texture, just to secure that it has something super strong to keep it glued to the shimmer card. So let's go ahead and place that on here, trying to eyeball it. Whoop. Let's see here. Okay, there we go. And then we'll put it on our card base. Got cards everywhere here. Here's our envelope. Here's our card base. And I'll just go ahead and use glue on the shimmer paper as well. And so it's opening this way. Remember, we talked about that. And I'm also going to keep in mind about the margin. And then our strip of paper that I just cut out, we're just going to put here. And I really did just eyeball it. So I'm just going to put it right here. And again, I'm using liquid glue because shimmer paper and textured paper, I just want to feel a little bit better about thinking that it's going to stay glued down. Again, I'm just eyeballing it. So I didn't really have a measurement of where you would put it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take that little let's see here, that little strip. You know what? These gloves, things are sticking to it and I'm having a hard time finding them. What in the world? All right, so we're going to take the shimmer paper. I want to use shimmer paper. And we're going to make that our sentiment strip. And so I would go ahead and glue this down on top. Again, when you're going to stamp it, you want to stamp it before you glue it down, because again, if you make a mistake, you have time to fix it, or you can just flip it over and fix it, and no one will ever know that you misstamped it. And you know what? None of us are perfect, so it happens. Some of us get fumbly, especially when we have when our hands are not working. All right, so and if you have this kind of thing, you can fix it. Just put a little bit of glue, not too much, and this is where you have to be really careful to not get too much. But it's because of the texture, so you want to make sure that you glue them down good. All right, so then your sentiment card would go right here. Again, we're going to glue it down. And I'm eyeballing it. All right, and then you can put your pansy there. Now, I will say this. I will say that I did want to use dimensionals, but I didn't use them on the whole flower. I just used it, see where you have this card, where these layers are, if you don't put like a dimensional and you put glue, you're going to feel that bend and you might even see it. So it's better just to glue part of it. You'll have your message here, and then put a dimensional right here on the tip. So let's go ahead and put that dimensional there. There's that leaf. All right, I think we only need one dimensional. So let's go ahead and, because I think, yeah, one is fine. And so that way you can position your flower so that the dimensional hits off of this. And I'll just take off that wet release paper. I hope you guys are sticking with me. I know this is kind of a lengthy video, but these are kind of detailed cards. And this Pansy patch die and stamp set is just awesome. Now you see I have something left over here, don't I? So never worry about that, because here's what you can do. Take a pick tool, which is, if you don't have one, you're definitely going to want to get one. And then just take off the release paper. It's not so easy with gloves, but you know what? It works. Put it on your, take a pick tool, lift this up, and just put it under your flower, right like that. Okay, and then your flower has, I must have gotten glue on here. Then your flower is perfect. Now you have your leaves, so I've just kind of put my leaves wherever I wanted, and I am going to put a little bit of glue, and this glue will go on the back. So I just kind of lift up my flower. There goes one leaf, and then we'll put the other leaf. Whoop. Okay, so it might be wiser to glue down the leaves before you glue down your flower, definitely. And then with these, we are going to use those pearls that I just took out. And these are, again, called they're not called pastel pearls. What are they called? Yes, pastel pearls. And so they come in different colors. So there's, you get a nice selection here. I am going to take these purplish ones here, the fresh freesia, and I'm going to put them on my card. So on this card, I did use a leftover gem, but I sent you these because I just wanted to use that. But you can put them all over your card. I didn't want to, and this is a personal preference. You can certainly do your own thing. I didn't want to put the gem on the white because I like that look. But when you stamp your message, and if you stamp it right here or here, then that will determine where you can put your pastel gems. And so I'm just going to put them, I'll have to fit my message around them. I'm just going to put the gems like right here. So 3 of them, that's an odd number. Okay, and so that's card number 2. Now, so the third card that comes in your kit, we're going to do a separate video for that because sometimes it's really hard to do a video when you have a lot of stuff that you're trying to show. So let's just kind of regroup here. So this is the card that we made today and the envelope. And we also made this card today, and then of course the envelope. So you have this in your kit. You have so that you can make 2 of each. I hope that you enjoy this. I hope you have fun with this. As I said, you're going to be able to make 2 cards, so you could keep one just to kind of remember, and then you can send the other to someone. So that's kind of the beauty of paper crafting, is that we can share our craft with others. So for this card, you definitely, if you want exactly the same, and you really don't have to emboss that if you don't want to. You'll want to look at our embossing folders. But these are the dies that are the star of the show, and I actually have them right here, and I'm going to put them back because I don't want to lose them. But these are the dies that we use today. And so I hope that you enjoyed today. Please be sure, if I didn't already tell you, that to consider subscribing to my channel and hitting the bell icon. And then always you can go on over to Rita's Paper Motif to check out other tutorials. And I just want to thank you for joining me today, and I hope you all have a very great day. Bye now.